Under the soft, radiant glow of the full moon, the villagers gather around the sacred fire. The air hums with nervous energy. The elders, draped in robes woven with the symbols of their ancestors, begin their chants. The drums beat, steady and deep, echoing the heartbeats of those gathered. The people watch intently, knowing that tonight the ancestors will speak through the ceremony. This ritual, passed down through generations, promises protection and prosperity for the village. As the fire flickers, every soul present feels the weight of tradition, each movement deliberate, every chant a step closer to securing the tribe's future. The elder steps forward, his hands trembling with reverence. Beneath the flickering firelight, he unearths the sacred necklace, its jewels glowing faintly, as if alive with the power of ancestors long gone. He lifts it high above his head, his voice booming across the gathering. To the new chief, he declares, "This is the blessing of our forebears, the protector of our people, the link between us and the gods." His eyes shine with pride. The necklace is more than an artifact. It is a symbol of the village's strength, the lineage of leaders who have guided them through good and bad. This moment marks the beginning of a new chapter, a hopeful future. Suddenly, the silence is shattered by a bold, defiant voice. A figure strides through the crowd, her presence commanding attention. Amara stands tall, her eyes blazing with anger, and something darker. "You are blind," she cries. "This necklace is no blessing. It brings only death, not life." Gasps ripple through the crowd. The elder falters, his eyes narrowing. Amara's words hang heavy in the air, a challenge to everything the village has believed. Her voice shakes the very ground they stand on, questioning the foundation of their sacred traditions. The people exchange uneasy glances, unsure of how to respond to this sacrilege. With a quick, fluid motion, Amara lunges forward. Before anyone can stop her, she grabs the necklace from the elder's hands. A collective gasp echoes through the crowd. The sacred artifact, the symbol of their village's strength, now rests in the hands of one who seems determined to destroy. Amara turns, her feet pounding against the earth as she rushes into the dense jungle. The villagers remain frozen, paralyzed by shock and fear. The air grows thick with uncertainty as the echo of her footsteps fades into the night. A moment that was meant to signify a new beginning now feels like an omen of doom. The elder's voice cracks, trembling with a weight of ancient knowledge. "She has cursed us all," he mutters, his eyes wide with dread. The crowd stirs uneasily, murmurs rising like the wind. The full moon overhead seems to grow dimmer, as though it too feels the growing dread. "Her bloodline." The elder trails off, unable to finish his words. The villagers look around nervously, sensing the danger that Amara's actions have unleashed. Fear tightens around their hearts like a vice, and the weight of the prophecy sinks in. The curse has been set in motion, and none of them can escape its shadow. The whispers grow louder. "She's one of them," someone mutters from the back. "The forbidden line." It's a name spoken in hushed tones, a bloodline long thought extinct. The village elders had once spoken of it, the bloodline that had made a pact with the gods, a pact that was broken in an age before. The curse had been sealed, buried deep in the roots of the land, never to resurface. But now, the bloodline has returned. Amara, with her defiance, with her strange power, is the heir to a dark legacy. But why now? And what does she seek? The questions hang in the air, unanswered and dangerous. Chike, a young warrior, stands at the edge of the crowd, his brow furrowed in confusion. His gaze follows the jungle's dark silhouette, where Amara disappeared. What was it that drove her to such extremes? Was it vengeance for the sins of her ancestors, or something deeper? His mind races. He remembers her as a child, innocent, full of life, but this woman, this stranger, is a force of nature, capable of anything. Chike knows that he must understand her motives if the village is to survive. His duty weighs heavily on him, but the questions he asks only lead to more. As the protector of the village, Chike feels the weight of the elders' expectations pressing down on him. But his heart is heavy with guilt. His parents died in a tragic raid years ago, and their deaths were never fully explained. He has carried that grief, that mystery, as a constant shadow in his life. Now, as the village's protector, he feels he has failed them. If he had known the truth of his parents' involvement with the gods, would he have been able to stop Amara? Or is it his own bloodline, his own past, that is tying him to this present danger? His thoughts are clouded by unresolved pain, and the path ahead seems unclear. The moon's light flickers as Chike stands alone, torn between duty and the ghosts of the past. The weight of the necklace, the responsibility of the tribe, rests on his shoulders now. He is the protector, the one who must rise and lead the people. But how can he lead when his mind is clouded by doubt? He does not trust the elders completely, and he is unsure of his own ability to stand against the curse that is slowly creeping into the village. The sounds of the jungle seem to call to him, urging him to find Amara, to stop her. But can he really stop her when he does not understand what drives her? His inner conflict gnaws at him, but there is no time to hesitate. The flames from the night of the fire still burn in Chike's memory. He can still smell the smoke in the air, taste the fear as it choked the village. The bodies of his parents, charred beyond recognition, had been laid out before him. Whispers among the villagers had called it a curse, a retribution from the gods for sins they never spoke of. Was it an accident? Or was it something more sinister? The elders had never spoken of the tragedy, never explained the event that had stolen his childhood. Yet, even now, the people murmur when they pass him. He bears the blood of a broken pact, they say. Each whisper cuts through him, deepening the mystery. The past has never let him go, and the weight of that curse follows him wherever he goes. Chike approaches the elders with a quiet determination. He knows they hold the answers, but their eyes avoid his. They speak in riddles, avoiding his gaze, as if the truth might burn them too. "Your parents' death was not for you to know, boy," one elder mutters, barely above a whisper. "Let the dead rest." But Chike demands more, his voice strong, demanding, pressing for answers. He asks again and again, but the elders only look away. "Some things are better left forgotten," another elder says. Their silence is a stone wall, one that grows higher with every unanswered question. His frustration boils over. How can he protect the village if he does not even know the truth of his own past? The mystery only deepens, and with it, the burden on his heart grows heavier. Amara sits alone, her hands clenched tightly together. "My family once ruled this land," she says, her voice low but filled with an undeniable rage. She speaks of her family's greatness, their position among the village's leaders. But then came the betrayal. The elders, those same elders who now hold the village in their grasp, turned on her family. "They sold us out," she whispers, her voice trembling. "My ancestors had made a pact with the gods, a pact that promised prosperity, but the elders feared the power. They exiled us, erased us from history." Her eyes flash with the fire of revenge, the scars of the betrayal still fresh in her heart. "They condemned us to live on the outskirts, forgotten by those who should have revered us." Her family's fall from grace had been cruel and swift. Now she is determined to see it undone. In secret, Amara shares her grandmother's words with Chike. "The necklace. It was never meant to bless our village," she says, her voice steady but dark. "It is a chain that binds us to the gods, a curse placed on my bloodline to keep the village in servitude." Chike listens, his brow furrowed in disbelief. "But the elders say it's a symbol of protection," he replies. Amara scoffs, shaking her head. "A symbol of power, yes, but at what cost? My family's blood was spilled to keep this village thriving." She presses her hands together, as if trying to push the weight of the truth through her body. "The necklace holds the power to control us all, us and the village." Chike's stomach tightens. He never knew the true power of the necklace, only that it had been a sign of hope. Now the weight of its dark secret presses on him. Chike's mind churns as he tries to reconcile the stories. The village, his home, is built on trust, on the belief that their ways will keep them strong. But the more he hears, the less he believes. The elders, his supposed guides, have kept the truth locked away. Amara, the outcast, is the only one speaking of it. Have we been living a lie all these years? He wonders aloud, his voice barely a whisper. His duty to protect the village becomes clouded by doubt. Can he really protect them if the very foundation of their beliefs is built on a lie? The village's loyalty to the necklace feels fragile now. If the necklace is indeed cursed, how long can they remain blind to the truth? His mind races as he tries to make sense of it all, but the answers remain out of reach. The air crackles with tension in the village square as the younger generation challenges the elders. "We cannot live in the shadows of the past," one young man shouts, his voice full of anger. "We demand to know the truth." The elders remain silent, their faces tight with disapproval. They are guardians of the old ways, and the youth's defiance feels like an attack. Chike stands at the edge of the crowd, torn. The younger villagers are right to question, but to challenge the elders, this is dangerous ground. As the argument grows louder, he feels the weight of both sides pressing on him. He must act, but how? The old ways are sacred, but can they be trusted now? Elder Kwame pulls Chike aside, his weathered face grave. "There are some things that should never be uncovered," he warns, his voice low. "Some truths are too dangerous to face." Chike's heart pounds. What is Kwame hiding? The necklace, the village's history. "It is not what you think," Kwame says, his words heavy with regret. "To know too much will only bring destruction. Some things are meant to remain buried." Chike stares at the elder, his curiosity now burning hotter. What has the elder seen? What does he know about the village's past that he's afraid to share? The words hang in the air, leaving Chike to wonder what truths the elder is so afraid of. The rituals, the ceremonies, the respect for the gods, these traditions bind the village together. But now, Chike's mind churns with doubt. Are these traditions really strengthening them, or are they shackling them to the past? The necklace, once a symbol of unity, now feels like a curse, a weight that drags the village down. Chike watches the elders continue their rituals, their faces unreadable, and wonders how many of them truly believe in what they are doing. The village's customs have kept them safe for generations, but now, with Amara's revelations and the tension between the young and old, he questions whether these rituals are serving the village or enslaving it. With each passing day, Chike feels the weight of his new role as protector growing heavier. The villagers look to him for guidance, but he is unsure. The past haunts him, and the future feels uncertain. The elders refuse to share the truth, and Amara's defiance only makes things worse. He feels like a child again, lost in a world of adults who hold all the answers, but refuse to share them. How can he protect the village when he doesn't know what to protect them from? His new role, meant to be a sign of strength, now feels like a burden he is unprepared for. The weight of the necklace feels unbearable. Chike knows he must understand its true purpose before it destroys everything. The village is at a crossroads, and the necklace stands at the center of it all. Is it a blessing or a curse? Is it the key to the village's survival or its downfall? With Amara's words echoing in his mind, Chike knows the time has come to find the answers. But the more he searches, the deeper the mystery grows. He can no longer stand by while the village's fate hangs in the balance. The necklace, once a symbol of hope, now looms as a dark shadow over everything. The air around the village grows thick with an unspoken dread. Crops that were once lush and strong now wither beneath the unforgiving sun, leaving the fields barren. Children, once lively and full of laughter, fall ill, their faces pale with fever. The animals, too, begin to die, found twisted and contorted in unnatural positions. The ground that had once nourished them seems to reject them now. Whispers of the curse Amara spoke of spread like wildfire among the villagers. Fear grips the hearts of the people. The gods are angry, they murmur. The curse has been awakened. Eyes turn to the jungle, where Amara vanished with the necklace, and the village trembles in the shadow of something much darker than they had imagined. Chike stands in the midst of the chaos, his thoughts spinning. He had always believed in the village's customs, trust in the elders, trust in the rituals. But now, with the strange events unfolding around him, doubt gnaws at his insides. Could it truly be the curse, or is something else at play? Was Amara's claim of death a reality they had never seen before? He watches the children struggle for breath, the animals contort, and the earth turn cold under his feet. What if it's real? He wonders. The reality of the situation crashes over him. His world, once anchored by tradition and faith, now feels unsteady. He needs answers, but every question only leads to more fear. Compelled by duty and fear, Chike sets out toward the village's outskirts. The path is unfamiliar, the air heavier with each step. The further he walks, the more the strange occurrences seem to follow. Trees once strong and proud now appear, sickly, their branches drooping as though they too mourn the village's fate. As he moves deeper into the land, the oddities intensify. A cold wind cuts through the forest, and the sky darkens without reason. His heart races. He does not know what he is searching for, but he knows he must find it, before the curse can claim the rest of the village. The trail leads Chike into the dense jungle, where Amara is said to have taken refuge. His steps are cautious, every crack of a branch beneath his feet echoing like a warning. He knows she is deep in the jungle, performing ancient rituals, seeking guidance from the spirits. What is she trying to achieve? Why had she stolen the necklace? The jungle, once a symbol of peace and life, now feels foreboding. The longer Chike walks, the more distant the village seems, as if it too is slipping away. He steels himself, knowing that to confront Amara is to step deeper into the unknown. Nia appears at Chike's side, her eyes filled with a blend of grief and fury. "I need your help," she says, her voice tight with emotion. "My brother was taken by this curse. Amara has to answer for it." Chike feels the weight of her words, but his mind is clouded. He has doubts about the curse, but Nia's pain is palpable. Together they begin their journey, the uneasy tension between them growing with each step. Nia's thirst for vengeance is clear, her heart set on justice for her brother. But Chike's mind remains focused on the bigger question. What is truly happening here, and why has Amara taken the necklace? Their alliance, formed out of necessity, is brittle, yet it binds them together in a search for truth. As they travel deeper into the jungle, the tension between Chike and Nia rises. Nia speaks of vengeance, her voice sharp and unyielding. "Amara will pay for what she's done," she insists. "We must make her suffer, just like the village has." But Chike shakes his head, his brow furrowing. "Revenge will only feed the curse. We need to understand the truth of this power." Nia scoffs, frustration bubbling up. "And you think Amara will give us answers?" Their paths diverge. Chike seeks understanding, while Nia seeks justice. Their differing motivations collide, pushing them apart with every step. As Chike explores the jungle, following the faint signs of Amara's ritual, he stumbles upon something far more unsettling. Buried deep in the earth is an ancient stone tablet, its surface etched with symbols he recognizes. Symbols of the gods, symbols tied to his own bloodline. The truth hits him like a wave. The necklace was never just a blessing, it was part of a pact, a promise made long ago by his ancestors, a promise to the gods that required sacrifice. The elders had hidden this truth, afraid that the weight of it would break the village. Chike's heart sinks. The necklace's curse is tied to his very family, and now, the very power that should protect them is threatening to destroy them. Nia's resolve starts to crack as Chike confronts her. "You knew something," he says. "You knew more than you've said." Nia hesitates, her gaze avoiding his. The air between them feels charged, and then she speaks. "It wasn't just the curse," she admits, her voice barely a whisper. "My brother, I Her voice falters. I killed him, Chike. He was supposed to be the protector, but he turned against our family. The curse didn't take him. My hand did. The revelation hits Chike hard. His trust in her shatters. What kind of justice was she truly seeking? Was it vengeance for her brother, or something darker still? Chike stands at a crossroads. The necklace, with all its power, is within his grasp. He can destroy it and risk the wrath of the gods, but in doing so, he might save the village. Or he can keep it, trusting in the elders' word and the hope that their way has kept them safe for generations. But the weight of his decision presses on him. If he destroys the necklace, he may end the curse, but the gods will exact a price. The Kaumam village will face retribution, and perhaps the end of its way of life. His mind races. What choice can he make to save both the village and himself? Amara's rituals grow more intense. Her connection to the gods deepens with every chant, every offering. She no longer seeks the power to control, but to understand. The gods' whispers fill her ears, their demands clear. The curse is not a punishment. It is a test, a trial for the village's redemption. Amara believes the village must face its darkest truths before it can rise again. She is no longer the outcast. She is the chosen vessel. Her belief in her family's destiny is absolute, and nothing, not even Chike's doubts, will stop her from completing her mission. Chike feels the pull of his heritage, his duty to the elders and the village. But his growing knowledge of the necklace's true power pulls him in another direction. The village's traditions, once sacred and inviolable, now feel like chains. He stands on the precipice, torn between the weight of his loyalty to the old ways and the overwhelming truth of his bloodline's dark past. The choice before him is not easy, and it will change everything. Can he protect the village if its very foundation is built on lies? Amara's resolve is unshakable. She has uncovered the truth, and now she will act. The necklace, once a tool for control, has become her symbol of liberation. She believes that only by embracing her family's power can the village be freed from the curse's grip. As the village watches, Chike must decide, should he stop Amara and risk her wrath, or allow her to carry out what she believes is the village's destiny. The moment of truth is upon them, and the fate of the village hangs in the balance. Amara stands tall in the fog, the necklace clutched tightly in her hands. The air around her is heavy with power, the mist swirling like a living thing. Her eyes, pierced through the haze, focused on Chike. The village is dying, she declares, her voice unwavering. This necklace must be destroyed. Only then can the curse be lifted. Chike takes a step back, his heart racing. Destroy it? Do? You understand what that will mean? The gods will punish us. The curse will be 10 times worse. Amara's gaze hardens, her conviction unshaken. The gods are angry with us already. We must face them. The village's survival depends on this. Every word she speaks fills the air with tension. The stakes are higher than ever, and the burden of their next move threatens to crush them both. Chike's chest tightens. He can't hold it in any longer. Tell me the truth, he demands, his voice low and firm. What do you know about my parents' death? Was it the curse? Amara meets his gaze, her eyes full of pain and defiance. It wasn't the curse, she says quietly. Your parents died because they made a pact with the gods, a forbidden one, to keep the necklace safe. They traded their lives for power, for protection, and the elders, they betrayed them, kept it a secret. Your family's bloodline was bound to the gods through that necklace, and their death was the price. Chike staggers, the truth hitting him like a blow. His parents' sacrifice, the secrecy, the betrayal, it all comes rushing back in a flood of horror. The village he's sworn to protect, the gods and the elders, everything he once trusted is now in question. The weight of the revelation is almost too much to bear. Chike's fists tighten. You're lying, he snarls. You've come to tear everything apart. My family gave their lives for the village, and now you want to destroy it all. Amara steps forward, her voice steady but filled with fury. I'm not the one destroying it. The curse will destroy us all if we don't act. The elders have lied to us. They've kept us bound to a pact that's killing us. This necklace, this symbol of their false power, is what's holding us captive. Chike's anger boils over. And what makes you think you have the right to destroy it? You think you know better than the gods. The words crackle in the air between them, each accusation stinging deeper than the last. I know enough to understand that we're all slaves to their lies, Amara spits. And I'll do what it takes to set us free. Amara raises the necklace high above her head, the symbols of the gods glowing faintly in the mist. She's ready to destroy it. Chike stands, frozen, heart pounding. Amara, don't, he pleads. If you destroy it, you may destroy the village too. The gods will punish us all. Amara's eyes are filled with fire. The punishment has already begun. The curse is here. We must stop it now, or the village will be lost forever. The necklace trembles in her grasp, as though the gods themselves are watching. Chike is torn. If he stops her, the curse may grow stronger, but if he lets her continue, the village might never recover. The weight of his lineage, the village's fate, and the wrath of the gods all hang in the balance. His breath catches in his throat. Just as Amara lifts her hand to destroy the necklace, a soft glow breaks through the fog. The air shifts. Slowly, a figure begins to take shape. A spirit materializes, ancient and powerful, standing between them. The former chief, his face stern and grave, steps forward. Enough, the spirit commands, his voice deep and resonant, filled with the authority of the ancestors. The mist parts as he speaks, the very air seeming to bow to his presence. Chike and Amara fall silent, their eyes wide with awe and fear. The spirit's presence is overwhelming, his power undeniable. He holds the answers, but will they be the ones they hope for? The spirit's eyes turn to Chike and Amara, his gaze piercing. The curse was never about the necklace, he says, his voice echoing like thunder. It is about you two, your shared bloodline. Your ancestors made a pact with the gods, one that binds you both to their will. The necklace is merely the symbol of that bond. Chike's heart pounds in his chest. His bloodline, his very existence, is tied to the gods in ways he never understood. Amara's face pales. What does this mean? She whispers, fear creeping into her voice. It means that only through your unity can the curse be broken. Together, you can lift the weight of your ancestors' pact. The truth stuns them both. What once seemed like a choice between life and death now feels like a test of their very souls. The spirit's gaze hardens. The gods demand a sacrifice to lift the curse, he declares. One of you must die. Only through this sacrifice can the curse be broken and the village be saved. Chike and Amara stare at each other, the horror of the decision sinking in. You cannot escape this, the spirit warns. The gods are watching. Their judgment is inevitable. The words hang heavy in the air. A life must be given. Satyar. Choice is agonizing. Who will step forward? Who will sacrifice their life to end the curse? Chike's mind is torn. His duty to the village calls out to him, but so does his love for Amara. He knows what he must do, but the cost is unbearable. He looks at Amara, his heart breaking. I cannot let you do this, he says softly, his voice shaking. It should be me. I'm the protector. This is my burden to bear. Amara's face twists with anguish. No, Chike, you can't. She steps forward, her hand reaching for his. It's not your burden alone. We both carry this curse. We both must face the gods. The decision burns within them both. Sacrifice is the only way forward, but the cost is their very lives. Amara's resolve hardens. If one of us must die, then it will be me, she says, her voice fierce. I will take the gods' judgment, and the village will be free. Her hands tighten around the necklace, ready to end it all. No, Chike cries, rushing forward. But it's too late. She has already made her choice. the gods will take her, and in doing so, they will save the village. Chike tries to reach her, but the air grows thick with power. Amara's sacrifice is the only way. Her death will lift the curse, but at what cost to their hearts? The atmosphere grows heavy, the mist swirling as the gods make their judgment. The village is quiet, the air still with tension. The spirit of the former chief watches, his face unreadable. The judgment is passed, the cost of salvation clear. The village is saved, the spirit intones, but the price has been paid, the balance has shifted. The gods' power fills the air, their presence undeniable. Chike stands in silence, his heart torn in two. The sacrifice has been made, but the world they knew will never be the same again. In the final, heart-wrenching moment, Amara's death brings the curse to an end. The necklace, now a symbol of their bond, dissolves into light, leaving nothing but the truth in its wake. The village is free, but at a terrible cost. Chike stands alone, the weight of her sacrifice pressing down on him. He has lost the love of his life, and the village has lost its protector. The curse is broken, but the cost of redemption has changed. Everything. The village is saved, but the price will echo through generations. Chike stands at the center of the village, the weight of his decision pressing down on him like the very earth beneath his feet. His hands shake, but his resolve is clear. The village's fate, the lives of those he loves, depend on him now. It must be me, he whispers to himself, the words coming slow, heavy with the burden of his duty. His bloodline is tied to the curse. Only through his death can the curse be lifted. The elders had warned him, and the spirits have spoken. It is his destiny to end the cycle. The village's survival hinges on his willingness to sacrifice himself. Amara, standing quietly beside him, does not speak. She knows this is the only way. It is the price of freedom. Amara watches as Chike steps forward, his eyes distant, filled with a sorrow deeper than any words could capture. She knows what he's about to do, what he has already decided. It is the will of the gods, she murmurs, her voice steady despite the emotions swirling within her. You will free the village, but at a cost we cannot undo. She steps aside, allowing him to move forward. Her heart aches, but she understands. Her bloodline, too, carries the burden of the curse, and through Chike's sacrifice, that burden will be lifted for them both. She holds his gaze for a long moment, a silent agreement between them. This is the only way to save the future. As Chike's life slips away, the village is silent, holding its breath. The mist around the village begins to clear, slowly at first, like a weight lifting from the land. The air feels lighter, as though the very earth itself is exhaling in relief. The crops, once wilting and dying, begin to show signs of life, their leaves turning green again. The animals that had fallen, twisted and dead, vanish, leaving no trace behind. The land begins to heal. The curse is broken, its grip on the village loosened by the ultimate sacrifice. A wave of peace washes over the people, but it is tempered by the sorrow of what has been lost. The village is saved, but at a price that will echo through the generations. The villagers gather, their eyes filled with grief and understanding. Chike's sacrifice has freed them, but the cost is clear. They weep for the protector they lost, for the future they almost lost. The truth of their history, the darkness they had carried for so long, settles heavily on their hearts. They mourn, not just for Chike, but for the generations that had been bound by the curse, for the mistakes of the past that led them here. As the people weep, they also begin to understand the depth of their traditions, the weight of their ancestors' decisions. The village is free, but the scars of the past are deep. And those scars, they realize, will take time to heal. Nia stands apart from the others, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. She had once sought vengeance, her rage burning for the death of her brother, but now, with Chike's sacrifice, her path has changed. The vengeance she had longed for feels empty now, as though it was never the answer. I thought revenge would bring peace, she whispers, the words jagged in her throat. But it only made the curse stronger. The weight of her actions, the loss of Chike, settles over her like a storm. She realizes that no amount of vengeance can fill the void of loss, and the healing of the village begins with healing herself. She steps forward, slowly, uncertain at first, but with each step she feels the heaviness of her grief lift slightly. The village must rebuild, and she must be part of it. The elders stand in silence, their heads bowed in respect for Chike's sacrifice. Their power, once absolute, now feels fragile in the face of the truth. The curse that they had hidden, the lies they had lived with, have all come to light. The bloodline that once ensured their control has now become a burden. They do not speak. They know that the village's trust has been shattered, and their role in the village's history is forever changed. The elders' silence speaks louder than any words could. They have failed the village, and now, with the curse broken, they must reckon with their complicity. The people have seen the truth, and nothing will ever be the same again. The villagers begin to rebuild, but the foundations of their community have been cracked. Trust, once broken, is not easily mended. Nia, hesitant at first, steps forward. She knows the road to healing will be long and difficult, but she also knows that the future depends on it. "We must rebuild together," she says, her voice carrying across the village. "The past is heavy, but it is not all we have." Her words are simple, but they carry the weight of truth. Slowly, others begin to step forward, offering their hands, their help. It will take time, but the village can begin again. Cheeks. Sacrifice has set them on the path to healing, but now they must walk it together. Chike's legacy lives on in the hearts of the people. His sacrifice has not just saved the village, it has shown them the true cost of their traditions, the true power of unity. As the people rebuild, they remember him not just as a protector, but as a symbol of the strength it takes to make the hardest choices. The village will carry his memory, not as a burden, but as a reminder of the sacrifices required to protect what is truly important. His legacy is not just in his death, but in the life he gave to the village. And through that life the village will endure. Amara stands apart from the others, the weight of Chike's sacrifice heavy on her shoulders. She had once been an outcast, the one who had been cast aside by the village, but now she sees herself differently. With the curse lifted, she is no longer bound by the past. She is no longer the outsider. She belongs. She looks out over the village, knowing that the future is hers to help shape. Her family's legacy, once a dark shadow, now feels like a light guiding her forward. She steps toward the villagers, her heart full of hope. The past is gone, but the future, her future, is now. She is ready to face it, not as a symbol of what was lost, but as a symbol of what can be. The village is united once more, but with a new understanding. The gods, the bloodlines, the traditions, these are not things to be feared, but things to be respected. The curse and the blessing are part of the same cycle, and now the people understand the cost. They know that their actions have consequences, but they also know that through unity, through sacrifice, they can change the course of their future. The village is free, but the cycle continues. It will always continue, as long as they remember the lessons of the past and honor the sacrifices that made them who they are. The cycle of the gods, of blessing and curse, is unbroken. But now the people walk it with eyes wide open, ready to face whatever comes next. The village is silent, but the elders' minds churn with the weight of recent events. The sacrifice of the protector, the breaking of the curse, it is a moment of reckoning. "Perhaps we have been wrong," one elder mutters, his voice tinged with doubt. "Our ways, our customs, we have held on to them too long." Another elder shifts uncomfortably. "The world has changed. The village has changed." They look to the people who now stand in quiet reflection, their gaze not on the elders, but on the future. The truth is undeniable. The elders' rigid adherence to ancient ways had kept them blind to the needs of the younger generation, the shifting world around them. The very traditions that once upheld their power had now come to threaten their existence. The realization stings, but it opens their eyes to what must be done. The past has been set in stone, but the future is still malleable. The village gathers, eyes heavy with sorrow and understanding. The weight of history presses down on them all, from the youngest child to the eldest elder. The curse, which had plagued their land for generations, was not just the wrath of the gods. It was their own doing, a result of secrets and silence passed down through the years. The elders' hidden truths, their unspoken agreements with the gods, had created a web of lies that entangled the entire village. "We kept the truth hidden," one elder confesses, his voice trembling, "afraid of what it might mean if we shared it. We thought the curse would never end." Another elder nods, regret in his eyes. "The silence has cost us everything." The villagers reflect on this, the weight of their own shared responsibility sinking in. It is a burden that will not be easily lifted, but it is one they must bear if they are to move forward. Chike's sacrifice stands as the ultimate testament to the price of power. The necklace, once a symbol of hope and protection, has now become a symbol of the cost of holding on to the past. The village had believed it was a gift from the gods, but in truth, it had shackled them to a cycle of pain and loss. The elders had once wielded its power as a means of control, but now it is clear that the real cost was not just the necklace, it was the lives of those who had been caught in its grip. "We thought we were protecting the village," one elder says, his voice cracking. "But in truth, we were binding it to a curse." The village understands now that power, when misused, comes at a price. And that price has been paid in blood, in lives lost, in dreams shattered. But through Chike's sacrifice, the curse has been broken. The true cost of their power has been revealed. The necklace, once a magical artifact of unimaginable power, is now understood for what it truly was, a symbol of their bloodline's burden. Its power did not lie in the necklace itself, but in the decisions made by those who carried it. Those who wielded it shaped the future, for better or worse. The elders, who had long guarded its secret, now see the truth. The necklace was never just a tool to command the gods. It was a reminder of their ancestors' choices that bound them to a destiny they could not escape. It was never the necklace itself, one elder reflects. It was our ancestors' decision to make that pact, and we have carried that burden ever since. The village now sees the necklace not as a blessing, but as a constant reminder of the cost of their choices. It is a burden that they can no longer bear, but one that will shape the future they must now build. As the elders reflect, they come to realize the weight of their actions. They see now that their past decisions, their adherence to ancient ways, have shaped the very fabric of their society. The curse was not imposed by the gods. It was a creation of their own making. "We chose to silence the truth," one elder says, "and in doing so, we condemned our people to a life of fear and uncertainty." The villagers, once bound to these traditions, now see how they have been shaped by the elders' decisions. "We must make a new choice," another elder speaks, his voice steady. "The future cannot be bound by the mistakes of the past." The elders realize that their legacy is not one of power, but of sacrifice, of mistakes, and now of redemption. The lessons of the past must not be forgotten, but they must not control the future. As the village begins to heal, the truth becomes clearer. The curse that had plagued them was not the work of the gods, but the result of the unresolved mistakes of the past. The choices made by their ancestors, decisions made long ago, had been passed down, unchallenged, until they became a part of the village's identity. "The curse was a shadow cast by those who came before us," one villager says, his voice filled with understanding. "It was their choices that we have borne all these years." The villagers come to realize that the deepest curses are not always those imposed by gods or spirits, but those created by the decisions of those who have come before them. These curses are passed down, generation by generation, until they become a part of their very being. The village knows now that in order to move forward, they must acknowledge and break the chains of the past. With Chike's sacrifice as a turning point, the elders vow to protect future generations from the mistakes they made. "We will not allow the past to bind us," one elder declares. "We will honor Chike's sacrifice by ensuring that the curse is never allowed to return. The village begins to chart a new path, one that balances tradition with the needs of a changing world. The younger generation, once questioning the elders' authority, now takes its place beside them. They will work together, learning from the mistakes of the past and building a future based on truth, trust, and unity. It is a difficult journey, but the village is ready to walk it together. Amara stands at the edge of the village, watching as the people rebuild. Her heart is heavy, but her mind is clear. She has seen the full scope of the curse and understands now the weight of her own lineage. I have always been tied to the past, she reflects, but now I see that the past is not our prison. It is our strength. Her family's choices, their pact with the gods, have shaped her path, but now she is ready to step into the future. The curse has been lifted, and with it, she is no longer the outcast. She is a part of the village's future. She is no longer bound by the choices of her ancestors. She is free, and so is the village. As the village heals, the people begin to understand the true cost of power. The curse, the gods, the necklace, none of these were the true source of power. The real power lies in the strength of their collective choices, the willingness to change, and the ability to build something new. We have seen the cost of holding on to the past, one villager says. True power comes from the choices we make today, not from the things that bind us. The coin. Village understands now that true strength does not come from relics or gods, but from within. It comes from the willingness to change, to sacrifice, and to build a future that honors the past without being shackled by it. The story closes with a final realization. The curse was never about the necklace or the god's wrath. It was about the choices made by those who came before. The true curse lies in the decisions of the past, and only by acknowledging these decisions can the future be rewritten. The curse was a legacy, one elder reflects, but it is a legacy we have broken. The village, now free from the curse, understands that the future is in their hands. The gods may watch, but it is their own choices that will define their destiny. They are free, and with that freedom comes the responsibility to build a new legacy, one based on unity, truth, and strength.